It's Dynasty season time, folks. And if you're rebuilding for a fourth straight year, you're no longer rebuilding. You're just bad. And that's okay because we're here to help. Welcome back to the Fantasy Football Channel. Kyle, we are talking rookies and Dynasty this month. How the heck we doing over there?
I'm doing well. I am wiping butts and ready to start talking Dynasty. How are you doing?
Oh, man. How's that newborn dad life going? Just a lot of butt wiping or what?
A lot of butt wiping, a lot of firsts, the fevers, the ear infections, the this, the that, the Google doctors, all those things.
Yikes. Fun stuff. I'm doing wonderful. It's like 55 and sunny. You can keep waiting. You can hold your breath on that one. Alrighty. As we said, we're talking Dynasty. We're talking rookies. NFL draft is a little over 2 months away. And today, specifically, we are talking about quarterbacks. And since we are talking about quarterbacks and drafts, we are starting this off with the biggest quarterback draft day bust. The number one bust, without a doubt, is Jamarcus Russell, 2007 first overall pick to the Raiders. Got a huge deal, and they won 7 games in 3 seasons. Ouch. That is a bust. I remember watching him throw a football 60 yards on his knees, and I was like, this guy is he's the next GOAT. He was not. Anthony Richardson, 2023, 4th overall pick, cannot hit a broadside of a barn. The dude's accuracy is absolutely miserable, and he's been injury-prone since he has rushing tendencies. He has been nothing but a bust. Kyle, what do you got over there?
I'll hit you back. We are talking relatively recent big draft day busts, and so far, Mr. Trey Lance, number 3 pick overall in the 2021 draft, to the 49ers, who traded 3 first-rounders to Miami to secure him. Boy, is hindsight 2020 on that one. Unfortunately, I still think I have him rostered on a dynasty squad. My defense is Herbert has been a little injury-prone, and the O-line question marks this year. So I was really hoping to snag him for know what I mean.
Has Trey Lance started a game for you ever?
No. And then we're also talking Johnny Money Manziel, 2014. Huge bust. EJ Manuel, 16th overall pick in 2013. So it's going back a little further. There's a couple of draft day busts for you guys out there. Fans, what are some of your biggest draft day busts you guys can recall?
Plenty of good ones out there. Oh, man. There's so many good ones out there. All right, Dynasty managers. It's time for some self-awareness here. We got to figure out, where are you really at this season? Are you a contender? Are you in a hybrid? Are you full-blown tank mode and pretending to be competitive like I have to do this year? You got to really figure out where you are within your season. Because if you don't define that right now, you're going to torch your season and potentially upcoming seasons as well. If you're going for the championship, stop hoarding draft picks like they're Bitcoin. Push the chips in and get some W's and get some winners on your team. If you're a hybrid where you don't know what you're going to do yet, buckle up. Your season depends on injuries, breakout players, and whether your sleepers are actually going to help you be a league winner or not. And if you're tanking like me, then tank correctly. Get rid of all your old guys. Get them off your team. Hoard some draft picks like Bitcoin. You don't want to stay mid forever, so you got to be aggressive one way or another. And if you're chasing the trophy and building for 20, if you're chasing the trophy, you trade everything. Trade it all and go for the championship. It's only so often you get to win one. Drop your strategy in the comments. I want to see where you guys are at. Kyle, what is your plan for the Dynasty 2026 season?
Yeah, I am in the hybrid to contending camp. This league I've won. The rare occurrence in our Dynasty league. Adam, you're new to this league. You inherited a poor team, so you got some work cut out for you. I've actually had a year where there was 3 straight years I won in this league. I have not won. I have not won in the last few years, but I've been a contender every single year still. Last year we did a 5-keeper redraft in this one and brought in some new blood. And I think for you are doing searching for those 2027 draft picks is kind of what you're thinking.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely not playing for this year. That's for sure. I've seen the other teams. I cannot compete. So yeah, 2027 draft picks, getting rid of age, which I've already done, and just adding youth. Yes.
Yeah. So one of the strategies as the hybrid that I have done and am going to do this year again is I still have all of my draft picks. So, maybe there's a world where I move one or two for a better player. But what I usually like to do is midway through the season, I'm assessing what my needs are. How healthy am I? Do I have a
Mm-hmm.
couple of really big boys that are injured? Then it's going to probably say, all right, well, then I'm not going to want to trade any draft picks for anybody to make a push. If I'm healthy, my record is doing well. Like last year, I was dominating. And then I got a couple of key injuries in the semifinals of the playoffs, which sucked. Um, but outside of that, midway through season before the trade deadline, if you're in contention, you're looking strong, you need a little push. That's when I'm happy to give away a draft pick for a guy that can help me compete in the championship that year. So again, that will be my strategy. It will be a real midseason kind of assessment for me, and that's the true hybrid strategy is how I look at that.
I like that. I like that. Dropping facts for the people from a three-time champion over here.
That's right.
All right. You ready to talk some QBs?
Yeah, let's before we talk QBs, let's talk a little bit of a kind of further strategy. So like
Okay.
things I like to do also
Mm-hmm.
is I'm really watching where the rookies are going. Like the combines are great, draft capital is great, right? And all those things. But I'm just gonna give you guys a little bit of like juicy stuff here. You really need to assess the depth charts, the coaching, how soon you guys want these players to be productive in your lineups or depth pieces on your team at all. I'll give you a couple examples. Green Bay quarterback, right? If it's ever a high draft capital, don't you can't count on it for years. They always develop young quarterbacks and they don't produce for quite a while, but they can hit big-ish, right? Big
Mm-hmm.
when they do come and it is their time. Although Malik, though, I mean, in Dynasty, I'm still rostering Malik. I can't believe I was able to scoop him last year. That's pretty sick. And then, as another example, Minnesota. They have a great history of drafting and developing receivers, and then also those guys produce relatively quick. Like most recently, you talk about Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison.
Mm-hmm.
Like Jordan Addison, I don't even think was that high of a drafted capital receiver, but he had a lot of college experience, a lot of playing time, and in that offense with those coaches, he's able to produce right away, basically, and end up being a pretty good rookie pick first couple years. And then also think about the colleges that develop certain players, right?
Mm-hmm.
LSU is notorious for bringing in awesome receivers to the NFL. Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas Jr. You got Booty in New England, who is
You
whatever.
know.
Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson. So take those things into consideration as well.
Yeah, no, I love that. Ohio State, great at producing wide receivers. Wisconsin used to be good at offensive lineman and running back. Not so much anymore.
Yeah, I mean you get a couple of good running backs that come out of Ohio State as well.
Yeah, I mean the SEC, plenty of different things to look at, hone in on teams with there as well. I like that. That's good insight right there.
Yeah. So
Okay.
let's dive into the quarterbacks. It doesn't sound like we have a whole lot of juicy fantasy QBs prospects out of this draft. But I'll let you jump into that. Why don't you lead us off with the big dog there?
Yeah, absolutely. We got six quarterbacks we're really going to kind of hone in and talk about this year. This year's quarterback draft class is weak, way weaker than next year's projected draft class for plenty of reasons. But if you can hold on quarterback for one more year, hold on to it. If you cannot and you need one, kind of like I do, well, then without a doubt, everyone knows it. Fernando Mendoza is the clear 101 quarterback in this draft, and it's not even close. 79% completion rate, 3,500 yards, 41 touchdowns, only 6 interceptions. Oh, yeah, and a Heisman and a national championship. Pretty phenomenal. But here's where it gets spicy. If and when the Las Vegas Raiders draft him, does that immediately tank his dynasty value? I'm leaning towards yes, because let's be honest, the Raiders are allergic to relevance. Their offensive line, terrible. Defense, mid at best. Outside of Brock Bowers and Ashton Genty, where are the weapons? You can be a superstar quarterback, but if you're running around for your life every snap, it's not going to work out. And I think we're going to see at least 2 years before this guy is truly relevant. So, Kyle, my question to you is: are you drafting talent in this cat, or are you drafting the situation and leaving him be?
Yeah, I mean, you have a lot of other variables at play here with this guy. If you need a quarterback and you have the chance to get him, I think you still do this year. mostly because of limited stock. And you're going to see a whole new Raiders team next year. You got a new head coach. And my guess is they really do something with the offensive line. So with that, I would be fine taking him if my needs were a quarterback. And that has to be like the main need, I would say. I'd probably prefer to go somewhere else, but if you need him and you have a chance to get this would be the one that seems to be the obvious pick for your dynasty team.
Yeah. Yeah, I my biggest concern is having him not being relevant, like I said, and because all the weapons and lack of talent around him, and we just saw that with Cam Ward this year, where he's a great quarterback, great talent. That dude did nothing but work his tail end off, and one guy can't change an organization on his own. Offensive line was terrible, his weapons were terrible. He got better as the season went, but when a team is that bad, they kind of tank and they just leave these quarterbacks for dead in the most important parts of their career, which is the first year when they're trying to get a hold of everything and slow down the game speed. So you're right, though.
Well,
He's got the talent for it, but
let
yep.
me give you another thing.
Yeah.
Raiders new head coach Clint Kubiak, right? Seattle's offensive coordinator. So what does that mean? Well, he did very well with Sam Darnold, who, also did well in Minnesota, but struggled prior to that. And then Sam Darnold's another guy where he was like an elite, prospect coming out of college and sucked with the Jets. So a lot of it is landing spot, where he goes with the coach, and the player development and maturity from these young guys is very underrated. And
Yep.
that's something that it's very hard for us to measure here as fantasy football managers, but that is something to consider. So with those pieces being moved around in with the Raiders, I like it a little more
Okay.
than if it was another Pete Carroll repeat, or if it was not as successful as an offensive coordinator who's been brought in.
Sure.
Like
You're right.
if it was a defensive minded guy, I'd be more worried. Bringing
Yep.
in an offensive minded guy who has recent success with a guy like Sam Darnold, I think is very relevant and transferable here. Pending on how the other many variables shake out.
Okay. I guess I'll cap that off with if they draft when they draft a number one, I better see an offensive lineman or offensive tackle drafted right after him, because that is a big concern with this team. They need to fix their offensive line, and if they don't, it's going to be a world of hurt. And then the last thing I'll say about Mendoza, the dude had an amazing ability to deal with tough moments, bring his team back, lead his team. I mean, that dude, he is everything. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Alrighty. We are moving on to number 2 quarterback that we're talking about today in Ty Simpson out of Alabama. I'm going to go out and I'm going to be very real here. I am selling Ty Simpson. When I see a completion percentage under 70%, he's at 64.5, and I see no rushing upside, which is what this cat has, minimal rushing upside. I am not drafting him early or at all, because if you can't complete above 70% of your passes in college and you don't have the rushing upside, I think it's going to be a very tough feat for you in the NFL. If he had some rushing upside like previous Alabama quarterbacks did, I'd be higher on that, because that can help usher his fantasy points as he learns how to throw a football. But I don't see that. I am out on Ty Simpson. We haven't seen a good Alabama quarterback since Jalen Hurts. And I know there's some people upset about that, and I don't care.
It brings up Tua.
It does.
Wonder what happened this year.
Tua,
Okay.
Bryce Young, CJ Stroud.
Yeah, and where I'm at with guys like this, I mean, the rest of these quarterbacks also, I think in your rookie drafts, it's gonna be, if you want to take like a third or fourth round flyer type thing as a depth, or need it just to see how it shakes out, pending what you need on your roster. That's what I'm fine with for the most of the rest of these guys, honestly. Other than that, I wouldn't be real excited about any one of them.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say. Yeah.
Especially to be able to go and produce right away. But if they go somewhere where that changes with a great quarterback coach and a immediate need at quarterback, maybe that switches a little bit.
Yeah, that's fair. What would have been my number 2 quarterback in this rankings would have been Trinidad Chambliss out of Ole Miss, which does seem like he is going back to school. NCAA denied him. He's going back for a 6th year. He basically sued the NCAA, and the court said, "Yep, you go back to school." He would have been my number 2 with his rushing upside. But this just goes also to show that next year's draft, 2027, is going to be loaded. And next year's, you're going to have Trinidad Chambliss, you're going to have Arch Manning, you're going to have Dante Moore and Julian Sayin. So next next year's 2027 quarterback class will be more high powered. Moving on to our next quarterback that we are talking about is Kyle, your favorite, Garrett Nussmeier, LSU.
Yeah, I mean, I like LSU players in general just because of right their recent transferability into NFL and being able to put up.
Yeah.
So that's a school I like when I see rookies. That is, kind of a plus a couple of points for me.
Yeah. And Nussmeier, he is more of a straight up pocket passer. He is not going to run the ball much at all. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
last year he dealt with some injuries. Prior to that, he performed really well.
Mhm.
But last year had some injuries, didn't play as well, and he's a guy depending landing spot as well. Him and the next guy Carson Beck, but this guy specifically out of LSU. If you got a late round flyer and you need a quarterback, you could just to see what happens. Right, he's got high upside.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Speaking of his name, Carson Beck out of Miami. What an interesting career this guy has had, playing all those years in Georgia, and then his last year in Georgia in 24, he kind of had some injuries. He regressed his play a little bit, and then Miami said, "Hey, how about $4 million to come play for us? How does that sound?" And he said, "Yeah, that sounds pretty darn good." And not only did he do that, but he earned some or most of that 4 million by at least getting to a national championship game and really bouncing back his performance. And a couple years ago, he would have been considered the number one draft pick before he kind of had his down year in Georgia. So this guy has talent. He has veteran leadership. Is he going to be elite in the NFL? I do not think so, but I think he can be a good pocket passer or good enough. He's not going to be someone that runs around a lot, which again limits his fantasy upside a little bit. But I think he could play ball in the NFL. He's been doing it consistent enough in college football. What's your take?
Yeah, he's a little bigger than Garrett, right? Garrett's 6'1", 200 pounds. This guy is 6'4", 220 pounds. So he's got a little bit bigger build, a little taller, see over lineman, throw it downfield. You know, um, again, he's up there, and these are the two guys I would probably be the most fine with as flyers, outside of Mendoza, personally. And you just kind of have to see, right? You can't predict where they're going to go, how they're going to do, but those are the things to watch,
Yep.
right? That's how I look at this and what I will. You can look at the combine too, see how well if they do that, all those things.
Yeah.
Um, any other thoughts on those two?
Nope, not on those. But I'm ready for the. You ready for the sleeper pick of the day?
Go ahead.
All right. So, my dynasty rookie quarterback sleeper pick that I think has the most upside is my man Haynes King out of Georgia Tech. This guy played at A&M for 3 years, transferred over to Georgia Tech, and when he did not stop running the football. 953 rush yards last year for 15 rushing touchdowns on 180 carries, threw for 2,900 yards, 14 tutties, and only 6 picks. Due to his rushing upside and athletic ability, if this guy can clean up his arm a little bit and get a little bit more comfortable with reading defenses, he has a shot to be someone that is a fantasy producer due to his athleticism. He is someone I'm trying to look at in the 4th round or getting on the waiver wire if he is left for dead.
Okay. Yeah, and I will just give you guys the top 10 as a refresher. So for NFL team draft picks, you got the Raiders and the Jets at the top, Cardinals, Tennessee, New York Giants, Cleveland Browns, Commanders, Saints, Kansas City, and Cincinnati.
Mm, what a pitiful year they had, huh?
Yeah.
All right, guys,
Okay.
let us know what
So
some of
we
your
wish we had a little more juicy college quarterback prospects here, but for me, it's really, the Mendoza is the big one. Then
yeah.
those other two guys, I'm fine with flyers on. I'm not going to pay for them. But you might be if you're really looking for stud quarterback play, don't get Mendoza. Maybe you trade up next year or trade some draft picks to someone for a rising NFL quarterback, something like that, right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think you can take Mendoza in the first or early second, depending on if you're a sleeper or standard. Outside of that, get one of those other guys in the 4th round on a sleeper. I think that's your
Mm.
best bet.
Yeah, I mean, trading some picks to get like the Saints quarterback, Tyler, right? That could be interesting for a more of a lower cost. Even Cam Ward, after, more of a disappointing first year, does he develop? Could you trade and get him instead? You know, that's kind of how I look at that, pending your needs.
That's interesting.
Or sell for 2027. See if you can get Arch Manning for the brand, right?
There
Manning
you go.
strong.
There you go. That's it. I'm tanking just for Manning.
All
This
right,
season's
folks.
done.
Thanks for tuning in to the Fans Football Channel. We'll catch you guys in the next one.